Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you call the roll?
Mayor Beagle is excused. Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Present.
Councilmember Behrman.
Present.
Councilmember Gotchall. Councilmember Grunland Fox. Councilmember O'Day is excused. Councilmember Sharp.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you. City Manager Brown, are there any changes or additions to the agenda tonight?
Deputy Mayor, I have no changes nor additions.
Assistant City Manager Benson?
I have none, sir.
Right, any from the dais? No? Okay, next item is the approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes for the regular city council meeting minutes from July 22nd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to support. Any discussion, changes? Okay, we have a motion to accept the regular city council minutes from July 22nd, 2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. We have one piece of correspondence tonight, a notice of hearing for the electric customers of DTE, case number U21919. Which brings us to the city manager's reports. The first report for today is the fire report from June 2025. Do we have any questions, comments? I would just like to say it was great to see the priority calls now coming in under 6 minutes. Great job. I know a lot of that has to do with our increased staffing levels over there. Perfect, thank you. Second report is the police report from June 2025. Any questions? Councilman Behrman.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you were all the way in the back. My question was just the huge disparity in the number of total calls for service. My assumption could be possibly like last year we had a bunch of brand new officers and you said they were maybe more hungry. Is that where the disparity is coming in? Are they just not logging things now like they used to?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I don't think they're quite as active as they were when they were brand new. They're still very, very active. The big jump is in the non-criminal complaints. Those service calls, we're just not getting as many of those as we did before, but also included in there is traffic stops and some of those suspicious things that they notice when they're out and about on patrol. So I think it is a combination of both. We're not getting as many calls, we're not, but we're also not quite as active as we were because they're looking for the big thing now is what I hear all the time.
I just want to make sure they're maybe not choosing to document things because they don't want to do paperwork or something along those lines.
I don't believe that's the case because the paperwork they have to do is little.
Oh.
Very, very little.
All right. With that number, I just figured I'd ask. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just
Councilman Sharp.
I thought I heard somebody say they couldn't hear. Is that
Yes.
maybe tip the mic up a little bit?
Is it just from the podium or is it from the dais as well?
Everyone.
Is that better? Get up close? Okay.
Tim, you're going to turn it up a little bit? All right. We'll get some volume here.
Yeah, usually people can hear me. Sorry.
I always get yelled at for being too loud.
Any question? Okay. Great. No further questions. Thanks, Chief. The third city manager report for tonight is the Finance Department Quarterly Budget Investment Report from March 31st, 2025. Any questions for Marilyn tonight? Wow.
Nice job.
Off easy. All right, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the items will be removed from the consent agenda and added to the regular agenda at the end of unfinished or new business. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right. That moves us on to the first call to the public. The first call to the public is limited to agenda items only. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by majority vote of the council present. Persons wishing to address the council shall identify themselves and their place of residence and shall state the reason for addressing the council. All comments made by the public shall be made directly to the council. And just a reminder that anything that's not directly on the agenda for tonight come up during the second call to the public. Do we have anybody for the first call to the public for agenda items? All right. With that, we'll move on to unfinished business, which we have none. And the first item of new business is a recommendation to approve a 12-month contract with Lamar of Westland, Michigan for $30,900 from Economic Vitality Account number 248-729-956.004 and authorize the city manager to sign the contract for a downtown Wixom billboard advertisement campaign. Thank you.
So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion to support. Now you can go.
All right,
What do you-
sorry about that. The Economic Vitality Committee for the Downtown Development Authority budgeted a line item $50,000. We did discuss this at the budget session with City Council. And we were able to obtain 2 quotes from Lamar and Olivet Media, as you see in the report. The reasoning for wanting to do a billboard campaign is we would like to drive more traffic to the downtown. And our Economic Vitality Committee believes that by having a billboard campaign, that is one way to do that. So we are recommending to go with Lamar Billboards. The billboard is located on the north side of I-96 between Beck and Wixom Road. So if you are traveling westbound, it faces east. So it would be right before the Wixom Road exit. It gets a pretty good amount of impressions, and those are tracked by cell phone data. We would utilize the in-house design for Lamar, with Lamar, and I believe I have given you guys some samples of designs as well. And the estimated costs, or the total estimated cost is $30,900, and it's for a 12-year contract. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to.
Councilman Sharp.
12 months, right?
Councilman
12
Sharp.
months.
Oh, okay. I thought
Did I
you
not
said
say
12
that?
years.
12 years.
Did I say 12? 12 months, 12 years. Semantics.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Ms. Cloutier, I read the packet, although now it's escaping me. Is it visible on both sides of the billboard? Do we get eastbound and westbound traffic?
No, no. So it faces east as you're going west.
Faces east as you're going, okay. And it's a tri-vision, right? It's not digital, it flips the one that spins.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a tri-vision static.
All right, thank you. That's it.
Any other questions? Councilman Behrman.
So does that mean we're only going to be displayed 30% of the time if it's tri?
Yep.
Or-
Yes. And the reason we did not go with Olivet is because they weren't able to secure a billboard for us. And Lamar owns their own billboards, where Olivet leases billboards from other billboard companies.
I wasn't clear in the pricing for, you said you get revisions, but is it just going to be one billboard that's up there the entire year? Or we got to pay $1,000 each time you want to swap it out?
$1,000 for each design work, and we get one free one, and we get up to 5 revisions at no additional cost for each of those designs.
But you only, each time you want to swap it out, it's another $1,000.
Yes.
So that wasn't clear in the packet to me. Are we going to keep the same one up there for a year, or do you plan on swapping it out multiple times?
Our plan is to swap it out multiple times.
So I'm not sure that would fit within the budget then, because it's another $1,000 each time you swap it
That
out.
$1,000 is within the $30,000 price range. So, go ahead,
It's a 13-month contract,
12-month
a
contract.
12-month contract, okay, so that would, 12 times 2,300 is 29,000, right?
Mhm.
So that's two addition, so that would only be two swap outs. That's why I'm not, the math wasn't adding up to me.
Yeah, I can look into that, but my understanding is it's a one-time fee per design. And they're allowing us 3 to 4 designs, and an all-inclusive price with that is $30,900.
My only caveat would be is, I mean, if, perhaps it would be better to find one design and stick with it if it's going to be $1,000 each time you swap it out. And if it's going to be one design, then it really needs to be a design that fits with our new logo and everything, and not maybe event-oriented.
Yep.
I mean, I'll leave the details to you, but like, I would see no reason to be advertising the West End Commons and the Junction and that stuff, I mean, when some of the stuff isn't even built yet.
Right, those were future ideas that the DDA had.
Okay.
We haven't even submitted those.
Again,
to the
I'm just
Billboard.
looking at what was
Yeah, no.
provided.
Yep,
And
I appreciate
then
that.
double check the numbers, because in my eyes, it looks like you maybe could get two designs out of the price that you're asking for.
Okay.
Councilman Sharp.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Ms. Cloutier, I guess I didn't understand the Tri-Vision. I thought we got all 3 sides with 3 different designs. That's not, we get
My understanding
one
is we
picture?
get one.
Because I just did a quick check on estimated impressions, 677,000 per week, multiplied by 3, because that's like 2.9 million a week, and you divide that by 7 is 290,000 cars a day, and we just don't have that kind of traffic on 96 westbound. So I think there's something not quite right there in the math and the Tri-Vision concept. If it's, get all 3 sides, and we have 3 designs, do we have any say on who the other 2 sides are? I mean,
I did not ask, I don't know. I can.
I feel like there's something missing in the math here. Thank you.
Councilman Guthrie.
Oh, thank you. I did just one kind of little bit of clarity, and really it's a question, but it gets to your all point. They quote us 2,300 per period, which would be, I'm sorry, I just did the math, 27,600 annually, and then they, I think they overdid it by 1 service period. But if you subtract that out, the 30,900, we should be able at $1,000 pop to be able to switch it 4 times within the 30,900 that's proposed. We will need to clarify that, but I just did want to point that out, and I think that gets to the point of the DDA's understanding of this. It might just be a typo or something we can certainly clarify, though.
Thank you. Thank you. Relating to Councilmember Sharp's, I think because it says cell phone estimates or cell phone tracking data used for estimated impressions, so I think that is probably going to include vehicles that are occupied multiple times. So if you have 4 people in your car, yeah, it's still high. But I'm kind of torn on this. I think we do need to advertise. I don't know if we've been doing any paid social media engagement. I know we've been doing just organic posting. In terms of the billboards themselves, Councilmember Behrman had said pick one and stick with it. I actually preferred having the multiple options, because there were some of the more static ones that said like big time shops or something. I don't feel like we're really there yet. Like, we don't have shops, period, let alone big time ones.
Yes.
So some of them just kind of stuck out. I liked more of the seasonality of trying to draw people downtown, whether it's the block party, the Christmas tree lighting, stuff like that, I think is more what I liked. With the $1,000, is that a design fee that if we designed in-house or we had someone that has that experience that would charge less that could design it, then we save? Or is that we're putting up a new sign, so you're getting charged $1,000 period?
Yes, because with the design fee also comes installation and ordering of the product as well.
So it's not a design fee, it's just a sign fee?
Yes,
Okay,
they call it a design fee.
yeah. But we can't design and save.
We can design, but we're not saving.
Okay, design fee. So I think if we went the one and tried to cut down on the changes, I think just looking at the designs, hopefully we can refine it a little bit more. One of the things that happens with a lot of signs is people try and pack too much text on there.
Yes.
And so looking at a lot of the mock-ups, there's a lot on there, and to me, it's more of like a downtown Wixom, a big arrow that says this way, like something that is just simple. Like, I don't think we need the downtown Wixom URL or the music festival social district, like just something much simpler. If we're gonna go that route, I'm still very torn, but as a downtown, we're still kind of in the attention-seeking phase of marketing. Like, we're not even fully built. We just need to get people down.
Yes.
That's why I think we're still kind of in like the paid social media era of things for us, like highlight our events, run things that way. And I think once we're fully built out or whatever happens with rent, like more stuff to attract, then we maybe get to this level. But my concern is we're spending DDA money to get people off the expressway, and they only make it as far as getting cheese curds at Culver's, then we didn't really accomplish anything. So that's kind of, I think maybe we can be a little bit more targeted with paid online ads compared to a billboard at this.
And we do, around the events, do paid online ads on
Okay.
Facebook as well, leading up to the events.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilman Sharp?
Yeah, thank you. So I support the idea of a billboard. I don't know what's a good value for billboard purchase, but I definitely want the correct data in here. And MDOT says 56,000 cars a day use I-96. That doesn't add up anywhere near 700,000 a week. And if we only get a third of that, I would just like to have the correct data in front of us, and some of the other questions that were asked be available. So I'm going to vote no tonight, but I like the idea of doing a billboard.
Yep.
Councilman Gutschall?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to table this until Councilmember Sharp's items are addressed, and we can maybe get a little refined plan.
And we have a motion and support to table the item for tonight. We have to do a roll call vote for that? No, okay. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Deputy Mayor Resnick,
No.
Councilmember Behrman,
No.
Councilmember Gotcha,
Yes.
Councilmember Grunwald Fives,
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp.
Yes.
Motion passes to table.
Okay, so the item is tabled for tonight,
Thank you.
and got some data to get. All right. Very good. All right, the second item of business tonight is a recommendation to authorize the retention of Plant Moran PLC of Detroit, Michigan as the city's auditors for a one-year period covering the regular audit of fiscal year 2024 through 2025 at a cost not to exceed $77,080. Motion?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion to support. All those in figure, and Marilyn, you want to give a little?
Sure.
little update for us?
Sure. Staff is requesting the approval to retain Plant Moran as city auditors for the fiscal year 24-25 revenues and expenditures audit. The overall increase from the prior year is $1,325 or 1.75%. The budget did include an approximate 3% increase across the audit line items, so sufficient funding is included in the budget. A further note, $1,409.06 of this total is covered and paid for by our water wastewater contractor, F&V. The remainder is covered by the city's various funds. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Councilwoman Greenland Fox.
When is the last time that we went out to bid for this? Because I see it says we've had them since 1957, but surely we went out to.
It has been a while since we went out to bid. And we discussed that going into this year. And with my upcoming retirement in January, you know, we had those discussions of what does that look like with that transition. And we decided that it probably wasn't the best time to switch auditing firms because just the fact that we may need them during that transition, you know, to help new staff coming in and then address doing doing bidding after that transition takes place.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, it just seemed like the timing was not ideal to bring a new auditor in at my exit and then also a new auditor on staff at the time that the new people are coming in. Since Plant Moran does have that long history with us, they know our books and things very well and can provide assistance if needed during that transition.
Okay. I will support this tonight, but I would like to see us go out and look and see what other competition is out there for this
Yep.
year.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second on business item number 2, a recommendation to authorize the retention of Plant Moran PLLC of Detroit, Michigan as the city's auditors for a 1-year period covering the regular audit of fiscal year 2024-2025 at a cost not to exceed $77,080. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Third item of business tonight is a recommendation to authorize the purchase of a 2025 Ford Escape for $34,730 from investigative vehicles account 401-301-973.371 and a 2025 Ford Ranger for $37,656 from police vehicle account number 401-301-973.370 from Lunghammer Ford of Owasso, Michigan, utilizing the MIDeal bid process and contract. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Motion and support. Chief.
Good evening. What you have before you is a request for the police department to purchase 2 vehicles. These were discussed during the 25-26 budget times as vehicles that we need to replace. The first one is a current vehicle that we have, another Ford Escape. It's a 2009 with 102,000 miles on it. Apparently the frame is starting to rust out, so it's really not roadworthy anymore. So it's time for that one to be replaced. We're asking to replace it with another Escape. The second vehicle is the one that I drive, which is a 2018 Ford Police Interceptor. It's got over 80,000 miles on it. It's time for that vehicle to also be rolled out. What I want to purchase with that is a Ford Ranger pickup. And what we're going to do is actually assign that vehicle to our detective bureau. They need something for surveillance that blends in. And that gray Charger they've got, or that gray Durango they've got out there kind of looks like a police car and they're getting burned. So the thought was to get them a pickup because pickups are everywhere. This will be a 4-wheel drive pickup also. We're going to equip it with some lights so that it can be used by patrol if it's needed during a heavy snowstorm or something where we need to be able to get around. We'll have stickers that we can put on it and that kind of stuff. But we'll assign that, I will take the Durango and drive that, and that also splits those two cars up, those two DB cars that we bought last year that had the same mileage in the same year. So in a few years, I'm not coming and asking you to buy two new DB cars. They'll be split up by about 4 years, which will help us in the future when it comes to getting new cars. This year, we do not need any patrol cars. So these are the only two vehicles that we'll have to purchase this year. So we did get 3 quotes for you. The first one, the best one, was the My Deal price. It's there. Lunghammer out of Owasso also has the Macomb County bid. We've got those, and they blew the price, the other dealers out of the water with their price. Heinz Park Ford did quote us an Escape that's cheaper, but it's only a 4-cylinder engine. That's not what we asked for. We wanted a 6-cylinder engine. So when they never did give us a price for a 6-cylinder engine. So I think they were just trying to undercut that one price to get the purchase, but it wasn't what we wanted. So we're requesting to purchase these through My Deal from Lunghammer.
Any questions for Chief Langmeyer? Councilman Sharp?
The reason they might not have quoted a 6-cylinder is I don't think there's a 6-cylinder available on an Escape. It's a 4-cylinder and a 3-cylinder. It's 1.5 and a 2-liter. That's just my. They might have quoted the smaller one. You wanted the 4.
We wanted the full size one.
You wanted the full size one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that may be.
I'm not trying to catch you on it. I just see I see the
I just
4-cylinder
don't want to-
quoted, which is the bigger of the two, but maybe that was surprisingly, it's a 3-cylinder as the base engine on it.
Well, I definitely don't want that.
Councilman Bearman?
I just thank you for going above and beyond the My Deal. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Comments? I think I can appreciate as well that it needs to be something other than that Durango. I watched Chicago PD enough to know that whatever Hank drives is way too obvious. So,
They look like police cars.
all right. All right, we have a motion and a second, and recommendation to authorize the purchase of a 2025 Ford Escape for $34,730 from investigative vehicles account number 401-301-973.371, and a 2025 Ford Ranger for $37,656 from police vehicle account 401-301-973.370 from Lunghammer Ford of Owasso, Michigan, utilizing the MI Deal bid processing contract. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right. Fourth item of business tonight is a recommendation to waive the competitive bid process and purchase a replacement Bravo One ambulance from RSVP Ambulance of Toledo, Ohio, an amount not to exceed $300,000 from Rescue Replacement Account number 401-336-978-357. I have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion to support. Chief?
Good evening. As you will recall from the budget study sessions that we had this last year, we talked about purchasing this new ambulance and talked about some of the cost increase and the build time delays, and that pretty much stems to the reason why I'm asking to waive the bid process, because we've looked and been able to secure a demo unit from RSVP that will save us a significant amount of money in the city in purchasing this truck, and we won't have to deal with the build time issues, the increased costs, and from the Sprinter model that we originally talked about during our budget study session, the space and the equipment that we were gonna have to forego in this new vehicle. This vehicle will be replacing a 2010 Ford E450 diesel. Right now, it's being used as a reserve truck that is pulled on a third medical at that time, anytime one of the other trucks goes out for repair. And this current vehicle, it needs to have the engine, it would have to have the engine pulled, and because it has an oil leak in the back of the block, and the only way they can do that is to remove the entire cab and we're looking at a project that is probably a couple $100,000 at that point in time. So that truck also has limitations. It doesn't have the power load system, doesn't have a power cot, so it puts a lot more strain on our firefighters to even use the rig that we would be replacing. So at that point, it was moved to reserve status in 2021 when we started seeing these issues. And from there, we held on to it because the turn-in trade amount was not significant enough to be able to do anything with it. And our increased call volume at the time warranted having 3 ambulances. And we've been utilizing those on a regular basis. I had to pull a 3rd ambulance just last week. So it is something that we have and we've been using more and more lately just because of the increased call volume and the lack of availability from our private ALS service. HVA is not available as much as they used to be. So you're seeing in bi-monthly reports, we're transporting more and more all the time. So that's definitely another considering factor to this new purchase.
Question? Councilman Behrman.
I guess my only question with it being a demo unit, I mean, is it going to be a color scheme that matches our existing equipment, or is it not going to be like a yellow unit or something along those lines?
No, actually, the rig is, right now it's white, and the price included getting a full wrap to identically match our current fleet.
Okay.
So,
And same warranty you said and everything?
yep, full warranty. It's got just a couple 100 miles on it from them taking it to shows and showing it off. That's pretty much all it's been around.
And it allows you to keep the same size you were used to, same equipment on board, and now all 3 of the rescue units will have the power lift?
Yep, they'll have the power load system and the power cot.
Okay. Yep, I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Yep.
Councilman, sure.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Chief Geisler, curious to me that it's $300,000 and that's exactly the amount that was in the budget. Do we know how much it's going to cost us?
It is $300,000.
How did that come about? The demo is $300,000. It says not to exceed, kind of means maybe we haven't established a price yet.
I have an actual quote from them for $300,000. I did a lot of work and a lot of time with them to get them down to that number on this unit. A standard class 3 like this would go for upwards of $400,000. And after some negotiating and going back and forth, I got them to settle on the price that we approved during budget study session.
Okay, so this is new news. This wasn't a demo you were working on 5 months ago when 4 months ago when we were doing budget
No, sir.
session. You're hoping it would come through and it
No,
did.
4 months ago, we were looking at a Sprinter style van that stayed within that number that we had established multiple years ago through capital planning.
Okay, and you have a right of first refusal on this thing at this price? There must be a lot of municipalities looking for one.
I do have right of first refusal at this point in time.
Really negotiated it.
Yes, sir.
Good job. That's it. Thank you.
Councilwoman President Fox.
Thank you for answering my question previously. But can you tell me, and for the sake of everyone else too, when we have firefighters that have to transport someone to whatever local hospital, how long are they typically out of service for?
We keep it under an hour. It helps, it's very convenient where Henry Ford Novi is located now, that we're able to get there, get the reports handled and done, and then get back in service with them. There are exceptions all the time, but we keep it under an hour.
Thank you.
And Chief Geisler, I understand we have since 2011 been billing for those transports where patients go.
We do.
Yep.
However, we only bill insurance companies.
Insurance,
If
right.
the insurance doesn't pay, we do not go after anybody personally.
So that does help offset some of the costs. One of the other questions I had is, in your analysis, it said that if we were to order the brand-new unit, it would be less outfitted for more cost. So are there extras because this was a demo unit, kind of like when you buy a
Yeah, there's
demo
a couple
house?
extras electronically. Yeah, there's a multiplex unit that helps control all the electronics throughout it that it would be an upcharge on a normal vehicle. The power load system takes a special plating in the framework, so it already had that built into it. So there's extras that are built into that, just like you said, any demo unit might have.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, with no further questions, we have a recommendation to waive the competitive bid process and purchase a replacement Bravo 1 ambulance from RSVP Ambulance of Toledo, Ohio, in an amount not to exceed $300,000 from Rescue Replacement Account number 401-336-978-357. All in favor signify by saying an aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. If it's- All right, the fifth item of business tonight is a recommendation to approve a professional services agreement for property assessment services with WCA Assessing of Westland, Michigan for a 3-year term with a first-year cost of $125,887 with funding from contractual services account number 101-257-956.145 and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion to support. Assistant City Manager Benson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Resnick. Good evening, members of City Council. This is an item that you all are probably somewhat familiar with. We've been giving you updates over the last few months in response to Oakland County's decision in April to spring significant cost increases on the city for our long-term assessing services contract with them. Just as a little bit of a preface, and I won't go through everything I included in the report, but assessing services is one of the core functions of any city or township in the state of Michigan. It's something we are required to do, and there's a variety of ways of providing that service, of appraising the value of real property for our own tax purposes as well as all of our taxing jurisdictions. Historically, for the last 10, 15 years or so, we've contracted with Oakland County, utilizing their equalization division to provide assessing services for us. And generally speaking, that's been a positive relationship and actually was less expensive than the contracted service we had used prior to that. I included some references in there, but prior to Oakland County, we essentially contracted with an independent assessor who worked with us in other communities. And then we moved to Oakland County after the recession. So with the cost increases that they have provided, this impacted 32 of the 63 cities, villages, and townships in Oakland County, and all of us had to kind of figure out what our options were. I'll just briefly summarize the kind of 4 key options we went through. Some communities provide the service in-house. Wixom isn't big enough with 5,500 total parcels. Compared to larger communities like Novi or Farmington Hills. We don't have the volume for in-house to make sense. We did explore the option of partnering with another community. Specifically, we had some conversations with the city of Novi. Ultimately, with the short time frame that we have had to figure this out, both sides, we just didn't feel like there was enough time to get that partnership right. So at the moment, we didn't feel like that was a viable option, although it could be a conversation we continue to have farther down the line. And unfortunately, given that so many communities around us contracted with Oakland County, there really weren't any other viable options. As an example, Commerce Township, Milford Township, Lyon Township, all contracted with Oakland County as well, so they didn't have these services. Our third option was to stay with Oakland County and their 60% increase over in the first year and 75% over 3 years. Pros and cons with that, we to some extent we know what we were getting with them. However, they have already lost over half of their contracts, and just being transparent with City Council, we were not overly enthused with their responses to how they would treat their clients who stay, how their services might be impacted. I think their stance is they'll figure it out how it changes after they know who stays and who leaves at the end of this month. However, we didn't think that was the greatest level of comfort. All of that being said, that leads us to our fourth option of proceeding with a third-party assessing services provider. That's what the majority of communities have done. There are only a couple key players in that field. And fortunately for us, we had the time and opportunity to get a proposal from WCA Assessing, as well as we had some conversations with an independent assessor who provides services for communities similar to Wixom. through those conversations and talking to references and looking at all of these kind of different factors, our recommendation is to move forward with WCA assessing. They work with a lot of communities similar to us, some bigger than us. They have a wide breadth of experience and staff to be able to take us on, and we feel confident that they have the capacity and knowledge to help us make this relatively quick transition. We do have Aaron Powers, who's the managing director for WCA Assessing, here tonight to answer any questions that you may have. But, broadly speaking, we feel comfortable with them. Similar communities to us, like Milford Township, I believe, contracted with WCA, and Highland Township was already a client, and had glowing things to say about them. So all of that in mind, their proposed contract is in front of you, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilman Gottschalk.
Thank you. Based on the fact that this is a new venture for us, I certainly think we should leave Oakland County, and I hope everyone else does as well. But the options that we had before us, I know we didn't want to do anything kind of knee-jerk like some other cities did right away. I think we, as you kind of alluded to, discussing things with Novi, we didn't fully get through conversations with them or other cities if we provide a regional group that was in there. I think 3 years is maybe a little long just with a new vendor to get started and put off exploring options. I think it'd be more in favor of like 2 years. Was that a discussion at all, length of term?
No, we had asked for 3 years. That was what we were looking for from folks, and our recommendation would be 3 years, just to, it's gonna be a transition just for us, bringing a lot of this documentation and paperwork in-house, transitioning to the information technology systems that we'll have to do differently than we did before when we were with the county. So, I think we felt most comfortable, having the time to transition to WCA, getting used to it, and then also those conversations with other communities. I mean, if we were to look at a regional authority as an example, intergovernmental cooperation would take a lot of time. I think it would take every bit of 2-3 years to really flesh out an idea like that. So, I think we feel comfortable that 3 years is, an appropriate match for both us and for, the certainty for the contractual services provider.
Where did things, can you share where things, like how deep in the discussion did we get with Novi, for example?
I don't know that I feel comfortable really getting into the nuance of it. I mean, we had a couple meetings, a couple conversations, and shared information. They've got their own decisions to make in terms of how they would staff up to accommodate us. How do we fit into their systems? There's just a lot of variables, so.
They couldn't have just absorbed us, like they'd
No.
be hiring on to do.
Correct.
Okay. So you comment about the HR director from I think I'd like to make a motion to amend it to 2 years.
I'll second
Councilman Bennett.
Just discussion on the motion to amend. The contract already gives either party the option to sever the contract within 30 days written notice, so it's kind of, in my mind, pointless to amend it. The contract that is proposed this evening, we could cancel it 6 months from now if we wanted to, if we worked it out with Novi. So shortening it to 2 years, it doesn't solve anything, and we already have that option if we want it.
Any other comments on the amended motion?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I understand the thinking of moving it to 2. I feel like 3 years flies by anyway, and as Councilmember Behrman suggested, if there's problems, we can, if we're looking for another solution along the way and we find something, we can cut it short. So I guess I would stick with the 3 years.
Okay, no further comment. We have a motion to amend on the floor right now. Motion, I'll just say a motion to reduce the contract term to 2 years. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Councilmember Behrman,
No.
Councilmember Godchill,
Yes.
Councilmember Grundlin Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp,
No.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Nay.
Motion fails.
Continue on with the discussion on the original motion. I had a couple of questions. One of my concerns is with WCA being new and them adding so many clients because of the exodus away from Oakland County as assessment, how are they going to staff? I know we talked about the inability to find a level 4 assessor, right, for our own staff, and of course the costs and everything else that would go with it. But how are they going to staff up to rise to this challenge of, 5 new communities for this coming assessing year? So I don't know if the company wants to come up and address that. That'd be great.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Aaron Powers, and I'll try to remember to speak into the microphone for you so I can be heard. A little bit about myself and the company WCA. It was created in 1982 to provide cost-effective solutions for local governments. We've been around for a long time. Currently, right now, we're servicing 51 different jurisdictions throughout the state of Michigan, everywhere from Wayne County, where we got started when we were actually called Wayne County Appraisal, to all the way into the city of Kalamazoo and Calhoun County, where we do both Battle Creek and Kalamazoo. So we have a number of decades in this business, and upon taking on new clients, one of the things that we were very conscientious of is that when almost every of the 32 jurisdictions in Oakland County reached out to try to find opportunities to find a different solution after their rates were being raised, was to be very specific in regards to where we sought new clients. We, for example, have had Highland Township and Oak Park for many, many, many years. The jurisdictions that we added adjacent to Oak Park being the city of Berkeley and the city of Huntington Woods make very great sense because they're very close and geographically located. As far as with Highland, then that kind of brought Milford, and Wixom kind of came into a spot as well. We have 6 level 4s on staff currently. We'll probably have another one this year. So that'll be a total of 7 level 4s. And I grew up here, and not only that, but Wixom's a very special place to me. It was the first place I've ever worked in assessing. So that was one of the reasons that Wixom looked very advantageous and something that we were very much interested in working with. Since the beginning of 2024, I believe we've hired 5 new employees, and I think in the last 3 years it's 11 that we've currently hired, and we staff up in accordance to maintain the excellent quality that we currently carry with our existing clientele, but to make sure that all of our new clients are treated in that same fashion, and we let our references speak for themselves. And we work with communities both larger and smaller than the city of Wixom, and certainly have that familiarity with communities of this type.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Powers? Thank you. All right. So we have a recommendation to approve a professional services agreement for property assessment services with WCA Assessing of Westland, Michigan for a 3-year term with a first-year cost of $125,887 with funding from contractual services account number 101-257-956.145 and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, motion passes. Welcome aboard. All right, the 6th item of business tonight is a recommendation to award the bid for gateway, facility identification, and wayfinding signage fabrication and installation to Johnson Sign Company of Jackson, Michigan, and approve a project budget of $169,651 from DDA signage capital account number 401-751-971.547, and $430,321 from city signage capital account number 401-751-985.541 for a total cost not to exceed $599,882, and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement. We have a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Again, is, okay. Assistant City Manager Benson.
Thank you, Deputy
You have
Mayor.
the
So this is a topic that we have talked about numerous times over the last few years. You know, I'm not going to go through the full history, but suffice to say that there's been a long-term conversation about updating you know, the city's visual identity, but also specifically our signage for our parks and our facilities. You know, getting it all kind of on the same page and the same vintage. So, you know, over the last few years, we've made a lot of progress, and back in, and I apologize, I forgot the date now. Earlier this spring, you all approved concept plans for signage to go around the city. This would be primarily replacements. There would be 65 total signs included in the item before you. Again, most of these are replacements or retrofits of existing things, but it would include, you know, all of our parks, all of our facilities, as well as add gateways around the community at our major entrance points. Within the agenda packet, we have included, you know, images of all of the signs that were bid out, and these are pretty consistent with City Council's past conversation. One thing we did do was we did evaluate the size and made some reductions per City Council's last conversation, but generally speaking, they're pretty similar. So I won't walk through every single sign type, but you know, one of the key things to keep in mind is that this is a project that we had done in partnership with the DDA kind of from the start, both in the design and then the fabrication and installation pieces. So the DDA did review and approve a recommendation to you all for their portions of the project. After a bidding process, I'm happy to say that we did receive a robust response. I believe we had 9, and 2 we had 9 and 2 were disqualified. You know, so we did take our time to really work through each of the possible vendors. We were impressed with Johnson Sign Company, not only for being the low bidder, but also the size of their organization, their scope, and their ability to take on this project and you know, really be able to communicate really well through it. Just a couple key notes about the proposal in front of you tonight. They did not recommend a contingency, but our recommendation to you includes one. We're recommending having a 5% contingency, which is pretty standard, probably on the smaller side for a capital project like this. And that's really just to cover, you know, any potential incidental costs or problems that come up, especially when you're dealing with things that might be in a road right-of-way. You just might not know what you run into. So we thought that it would be prudent to recommend that. And then the one other thing is that there were two smaller additions that were not included in the original bid package that, you know, just based on conversations, we felt like you all would be in favor of. One is a sign to go in this room, so it would go on the wall behind you. And then another was we omitted including the new lettering on the front of the community center, so we wanted to make sure that that got updated as well. We do have a representative from Johnson Sign here, Mr. Jim Nistra, I think he's in the back. So if you have any questions about kind of the technical side of this, certainly, you know, he can help answer, and then I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have about this.
Great. Before we get questions up here, I just want to make a comment. The City of Wixom bid summary sheet that we received with this, the handwritten one, I think was immensely useful. I wish we had that on every bid that we go out and get. It was just a nice attachment to see on a single page the number of bidders and what the amounts were. So I know that sometimes we include that in the typed details. I know when the city clerk receives them or whatever and fills it out, that was really helpful. But all right, we'll open it up now for questions. Councilman Barron.
I'm generally in favor. I'm glad to see that this is finally coming through. I did find it interesting, the bid sheet as well, that some of the bids came in right at $1 million, which just happened to be the number that was in the budget. And the sheer fact that Johnson came in 400,000 under that. And then I did find myself onto their website and saw all the signs they did in Meridian Township. Meridian Township basically did the same thing that we're doing. And they have a nice YouTube video of all their projects, a lot of their projects, and looks like they do some quality work. So I'm excited to see what they can do for the city here. The only thing I still think we need to look at adding is signs welcoming to Wixom on the airline trail, but I don't know if that doesn't need our approval. I'm sure that would be under $10,000. So.
Comments on this side? Councilman Sharp.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Assistant City Manager Benson, was it about 2 years ago we started this? Was it the fall of '23? When did we start?
Fall of
eating?
'23 is when you authorized the
And
original.
we met
design.
early '24 with Guide Studios, and we did have some good debate on the graphics. And I think we put that, probably isn't ever going to be 100% agreement on the graphics, but what I really like about this is the consistency in doing exactly what we said we were going to do, modernize it, make it consistent, get it up to modern standards, and plan it, not just throw signs everywhere. And then to come in, we all kind of took a big lump of coal when we put $1 million in our budget, thinking, I hope we can get it for this. And now the thoroughness of the package just blew me away. How much data was in there, how much time Johnson Sign Company spent. We haven't even approved it yet, but they put a serious amount of people hours in the package that we have in front of us. So I really want to thank them for that. I just think it's going to look good, and it really shows that we're serious about our city and our downtown, and that we're serious about our government and our constituency. I just am really excited about this. And one thing I've noticed, whether you're in Mansalona or Meridian Township or Sheboygan, signs seem to be the thing right now. All the cities, I see a lot of them where they're clearly new. Some of these towns, I think, how do they afford this? And yet they put pride and value in that. So I'm glad we're doing it. I hope we vote yes unanimously, would be really nice. But I just want to thank the city administration, Guide Studios, Johnson Sign, and the other bidders too. A really a thorough package we have in front of us, and thank you.
All right, and I was also very impressed with the package and very pleased again with the results coming out of it. I love the maps. That was great. And I also went on the Johnson Sign Company's website, and I love, family-run companies that have humble beginnings and grew into that. So I think that's a really good package. And again, I'd appreciate this bid summary sheet on every other competitor. I don't know if other councilmen agree that it was a nice add this time. So no further discussion. Oh, yeah. Okay. Councilman? Sure.
Thank you. I agree on the bid sheet. It seems like depending on the department we're getting something from, we get different, here's what we got. So if we could just standardize that, that'd be nice. The signs, I do appreciate that this got pared down from what was put in front of us last time. I don't know if that's step 2, and that'll be next week or something, but at least for now, this is pared down. Councilmember Sharp's not going to get his wish for unanimous, though, unfortunately. Still, some of the part of the issue that I brought up last time was the size of signs, and people seem very hesitant to adjust those. So, like the new fire department electronic sign is going to be over 8 feet tall. I think that's taller than what's out there now. Not that I've ever stood next to it, but I don't know, Chief Geisler, is that 8 feet? Do you think?
Currently, I think it's 7 feet.
Okay, so I didn't want to start adding more size to stuff when I don't think we should have that as many signs as we do now that are out there. It's just kind of cluttered. So it doesn't seem like things got smaller. And that's a part of my concern. I also think we can find a better use for $600,000. I went back and looked at old budgets, and in this, so we always talk about whenever we do these capital improvements, we set aside this money for 10 years, and that's not really the case on the city sign line item for this. We had 50,000 a few years ago budgeted, 50,000 like last year, and this year nothing. So this wasn't like a concerted effort of let's get new signs, let's rebrand. I know it came up more recently, but we haven't really been setting money aside for this. And we have other stuff that we can be doing that costs hundreds of thousands as well. So I'm still not a fan of it, setting the logo aside, which I'm also not a fan of, but I've said that enough. I think that this came out of kind of nowhere. It wasn't a plan to put this money into signs for the city over the last 10 years like we always claim we're doing with capital improvement projects. And I'm a no vote for that. Thank you.
Yes.
Councilwoman Granlund Fox,
Thank
sorry.
you. So I have some of the same concerns as Councilmember Gotchel, but I am glad that we've talked about it. We've looked at all of the renderings. It's a little more than I remember, but in talking to City Manager Brown, it was there and I just must have missed it. Maybe I was hoping it would be less, but I will support it. I think it's going to be a nice addition to the city, and thank you for getting it all together. Thank you.
All right, no further comment. We have a recommendation to award the bid for gateway facility identification and wayfinding signage, fabrication and installation to Johnson Sign Company of Jackson, Michigan, and approve a project budget of $169,651 from DDA Signage Capital Account 401-751-971.547 and $430,321 from City Signage Capital Account 401-751-985.541 for a total cost not to exceed $599,882, and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. Roll call?
Councilmember Gotchel? No. Councilmember Grenlund Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Aye.
Councilmember Behrman?
Yes.
Okay,
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, the seventh item of business we have is a discussion regarding options for the downtown Wixom Barn located at 48755 Pontiac Trail. Assistant City Manager Benson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll take the lead on this, although I know City Manager Brown, he and I, worked pretty closely together on addressing this. This agenda item is in response to, at the June 24th City Council meeting, a few members of City Council mentioned that the city needs to do something about our barn that's next to the community center. It is increasingly in poor repair. So, over the last couple of weeks, we've been putting information together and, here to present it to you tonight to sort of help facilitate a conversation and decision. The number one option that's been kicked around over the years is to demolish the barn. We did get an updated quote for $15,000 to do so. And Milford Salvage, who has been the low bidder on most of our demolition projects, pretty much all of them over the years, they have said that they would be able to save a decent amount of the barn wood if, at least the good parts, if we wanted it for whatever reason. So I'll get into in some of the later options, things that you could do with it. But they did say that that wouldn't cost us any more because it saves them money on having to throw it away. So it kind of makes up the difference. So that's an option before you tonight. The second option, I'm sorry. I missed one key thing here. In this agenda item, we wanted to provide you all the information that we had that's been gathered about this barn over the last few years. That includes past city council discussions. That includes information in the 2024 Parks and Recreation Master Plan that you all adopted, as well as the public input that was provided, specifically relating to the barn. At the time, 42% of respondents said the barn is important or very important. 35% said it was slightly or not important at all. So essentially a pretty mixed decision on that particular question from respondents who participated. However, the second question, 72% of participants did indicate of kind of options provided they supported reuse of the barn either on site or at Gibson Park. Obviously, that's without taking cost into account, and we understand that that is a key consideration for City Council. For one other thing, for what it is worth in this current fiscal year, we do not have any funds set aside for any major renovation work or specifically design work for the barn. However, there are ways we can work through that. I guess I'll save you all the hassle of walking through all of them. I'm sure you've reviewed. We'd be happy to answer questions, but really this is a conversation for City Council, of the kind of things that we've provided. Do you have questions? Do you have comments? Do you have a direction that you'd like us to move as a body? That's what we're looking for tonight.
And again, we are looking to give city administration direction on what the next step is. We're not going to take a vote on anything tonight, so. All right, let's open up the conversation. Who wants to start? Councilman Gottschall.
Thank you. Did we not have like a formal quote from Milford? We couldn't motion to contract with them to remove it tonight?
You could.
That's kind of where I'm leaning with it. The state of it is going to cost hundreds of thousands. I mean, the one bit of information here is just the construction to move it to Gibson Park is $300,000 plus the architectural design fees. To me, that's not feasible or reasonable. I think it's more reasonable, to my mind, to remove it, salvage the wood that can be salvaged. And one thing that I think we've kind of been lacking downtown is like public art. So I don't know if we could try to find local artists or carpenters who might want to put together a few pieces for the downtown area or parks or along the loop pathway, something along those lines. I mean, if it comes down, it kind of takes away the dilapidated state of things right now, and then we have options of what to do with the wood, and we can figure that out as we go. But right now, having things with plywood boards up like it's we had a hurricane or it's foreclosure on a barn doesn't look good in downtown. The only other thought of keeping it up is, I know in one of your presentations years ago you said separating that parcel out, like subdividing that parcel for offering it for sale to someone with a stipulation basically that it's for like refurbishing the barn if we really wanted to go the route of saving it. But I don't know that we would get a taker on that that's going to be profitable. So I think it's more just time for it to come down and repurpose, and that way it's still with the city in spirit, but not in its current state.
Just to your point, I apologize, I should have mentioned this earlier. The Parks and Recreation Commission did discuss this at their meeting last night. And Parks and Rec Director McGee did provide a little bit of a summary that unfortunately I didn't have for the packet to give to you all. But they actually had an interesting idea too of taking the barnwood, building a replica at Gibson, a smaller version using the salvageable materials. I just say to say, I think there's a lot of opportunities for potentially being able to reuse portions of it if that was at a much lower cost that could be possible if that was the direction.
Councilwoman Brendan Fox.
I'm torn with this, actually. I like old barns. There's not many around anymore. I think it's sad when they go away. With that said, I'm trying to be sensitive of the cost and responsible with the cost. It seems like there's a good amount of the people that responded that did want to see it either refurbished or kept in some way. But listening to Councilmember Gottschall, he raised some interesting points, and now you talking about the conversation last night, being able to reuse that wood and make something similar. I like that idea. It's an interesting thought of something to do. I really hate to see it go away, but in looking at it, and I went to see it, and it is in bad shape. So I think I'll just wait to see what everybody else, what their thoughts are, but I do kind of hate to see it go away. Thank you.
Thank you for adding this to the agenda this evening. It was interesting to go back and read my thoughts on this from 2019, where in 2019 I was an advocate of us trying to find a way to save and repurpose said barn. And that would have been great. It really would have been. We had a bunch of people that came to that meeting in 2019 to talk about it. The DDA was really interested in doing something with it. And nobody has done anything for six years. 6 years. And it's just continued to deteriorate. So it'd be interesting to see, I mean, is Laura still here?
Yep, still here.
Has the DDA discussed this at all in the last 6 years? Or is it just been forgotten about from their perspective as well?
Well, while she's on her way up, I will say they did put out a RFP for a feasibility study. So we were trying to kind of do the math on what would potential reuses look like financially. Like, would it make sense to become a wedding venue, or would it make sense to be one of those things? Unfortunately, we didn't get any responses to that RFP. And Laura can talk about kind of other conversations that have happened.
It has been discussion. I think my board is torn. I think half my board wants to save it and half just wants it to go away. So we haven't come to a consensus on it. I know from a Main Street approach, historical preservation is very key in that movement. Does it have significant historical value as if it was part of the Underground Railroad or it's on the National Registry? No, but it is part of our history here in Wixom. So from that, I feel it, my personal feeling is I would recommend to allow the DDA to rope it into the RFP for design services for the loop that we're going to put out this fall and see what a firm can propose for us to do with the barn. Try to give it a little bit more life.
And I could be fine kicking the can down the road a few more months, but I not another 6 years. That's where I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
where I was asked to bring back, because it looks really bad now.
Yes, it does. I totally agree.
And with that perspective, I know one of the quotes, the packet was to re-roof it and paint it like $150,000. That seems like a lot of money to spend if we're not sure what we want to do with it. And maybe this is a better question for Tim in the back. Is there anything we could do to make it look a little bit better for 3 months where the DDA figures out if they want to do anything with it? Because right now it looks really bad.
While he's on his way up, I will say of all the numbers we provided, that was the biggest guess. It could be more, it might be less. I just wanted to know.
Gallon of red
100,000.
paint to cover up the different color siding protections, and I don't know, something covering up the tarps on the roof. Could be cheaper, but
Transition is hard. And this, we have spent a lot of time just cleaning up around that barn.
and now we can see it.
And now we can see it. Which brings an attractive nuisance to some, and including animals that we needed to board that up.
Okay.
And we could, if you'd like, take a gallon of paint and paint over the wood that's, the
Very
OSB board that we put in, but, that's all time that needs to be spent. We need to make a decision. If you want to keep it, we keep it.
Yeah, I guess I look at it from the perspective of if that was my house, right? And I had tarps all over the roof and my doors boarded up, the city would be coming by and citing me. So I feel like we as a city need to hold ourselves to the same standard that we're going to hold our residents. So we either need to make it look better as the DDA figures out what they can do with it, or we need to take the $15,000 quote and be done with it. At this point, that's how I feel.
I guess I'll, thank you, Deputy Mayor, put in my 2 cents as well. I guess I support tearing it down. I'm not sure what to do with the wood. I'm not a barnwood expert in lath and making fancy, you know, Joanna Gaines should be here to help us with what to do with the wood, I guess. But, to make it a commercial space, move it somewhere and make it a commercial space or a space where people could use it safely and to code, we think the sign bill is big. I can imagine what that would cost to move and make something into a commercially feasible place. And I'm not sure if we want to run a business out of a event space or something. I'm not sure that that's our forte. I don't know if we've ever been approached by a commercial enterprise to buy the barn or if we've advertised it, but I think we're past that now. We ought to just get rid of it. So that's my opinion. $15,000 and make it go away.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't, looking back at the feasibility study, I know DDA has plans for like a loop 2 and if we can tie the barn into that. I feel like the no response to the RFP asking for what can we do with this thing is kind of like the response in and of itself is like nothing. Like, we're not gonna spend time telling you what to do with it.
Well, the only difference here would be, and we need to flesh out what that design process will look like anyways, but essentially we would be working with the designer, we'd be telling them what to do with it. It'd be a committee of some sort, maybe there's some community engagement that goes alongside it, but it wouldn't be as open-ended. So I do think we do better, because like we'll get an engineering firm, or landscape architect kind of firm to help us do the loop activation kind of design work anyways. So it won't be that, I'm not that worried about getting no responses. It's just whether we like the outcome.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we wouldn't get any responses for that. I'm saying for the old feasibility study, like getting no responses kind of is a response, right? Like someone ignoring you when you ask a question, that's your answer, they're not interested. So it's, to me, I don't even know really what we would use it for the loop 2. Like I understand wanting to save something because it's old and it's unique and it looks cool, but we end up back to what do we do? Let's kick the can down the road, and that 6 years since the last discussion that you looked at, that thing hasn't been used in decades longer, and that started with like a few months of kicking the can down the road, and now we're here like 60 years later saying, what are we gonna do with this thing? So I would make a motion to contract with Milford Salvage for $15,000 for the removal of the barn and to keep the barn wood stored for future use.
Can we finish up the house down? Because everybody's had a chance to say that.
I guess my comment was going to be in regards to the motion that he was making, but I would be in favor of supporting your motion in 90 days. If we put a solid time frame on it tonight, like bring us something or we're gonna tear it down, so the DDA knows this is their last chance, that if they wanna do something with it, to bring us something. Or maybe somebody else, maybe we put it out in the public even, like, does anybody have an interest in saving this? And if the answer is no, then the most cost-effective thing is going to be to the contractor remove it. But I think where we failed 6 years ago is we had this conversation and it's like, oh, okay, well, someone's gonna do something and no one did anything. So it needs to be very concrete this evening, like, it's time to someone to come forward or we're going to make the decision to tear it down. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my comments out here before we throw motions on the floor. I know I brought it up a couple meetings ago, having gone past in my bicycle in the backside, and it's a very, very big state of disrepair. My daughter got married in 2020. Her wedding party actually took pictures in front of the barn, and we're looking at those pictures. The tieback wasn't there. The boards weren't there. The bottom was rotten, but they were able to crop the pictures enough and get enough people in front of it to make it look decent. But those 6 years that have gone by, a lot has happened in terms of its a continued deterioration. One of the things that I spend a lot of time in northern Michigan, and up there you'll see a lot of surgical disassembly and reuse of barn wood. And I looked into it. There were 4 companies: Timeless Lumber Company, Michigan Barn Wood and Salvage, Michigan Reclaimed Barns, and Reclaim Michigan, that actually they help pay for demolition, right? Or in the case of maybe surgical demolition and reconstruction with something smaller at the Gibson Farm, such as the Parks and Rec Department suggested, might be worth looking into. But I would agree with Councilman Behrman, keep it to a 90-day period, right? It's you know, let's get moving on it and put a deadline on it before we go out for demolition. And we don't have a formal demolition contract, just a word of mouth, 15,000, correct?
I mean, it's a formal quote. They'll do it for that.
But have we gone out and looked at what people like Timeless Lumber, who's out of Mason, Michigan, or some of these other companies that actually do this for a living, Barnwood? And the other question I would have for Milford Salvage, if they would disassemble and store, where is it going to be stored? Tim's house? Great.
I can tell you where their property is, you can drive by it.
Yeah, if you can find it, right?
I just one thing I want to make sure that I say is that totally fine. I think the DDA board would be receptive to a conversation, you know, allowing some time. I do not think that 90 days is enough, just to be transparent with you, right? We'll have to, you know, come up with a scope of work, get that approved, do budget amendments to even just work that through. And that's just to get us to a point of, okay, now we designed something and we know what it costs. You know, Laura and I have done a little bit of work on the DDA budget. If they were amenable to it, there are future capital projects that they could reorganize and probably come up with a couple $100,000. But it will depend on the scope of work of what we come up with, of even, like, I guess there's 2 parts. That's what I'm trying to say. And the first part of designing a project will take more than 90 days. I just think that if that was the direction City Council wants to go, I would recommend to you that we're making a decision on, do we like that idea or are we tearing it down? Probably in the spring. I just think you need to give enough time to really let them work through the option.
Councilwoman Brendan Fox.
Thank you. So, to your point, that was gonna be my question is, okay, if we look at this idea of possibly doing something with the loop, what is the cost to do that? I mean, do you have any idea what that cost would be to have somebody even look at that and give us some type of proposal?
Yeah, I mean, we need to come up with what the scope of work is first. I mean, that will guide what it is. If we've already budgeted, and Laura, I forget, is it 20,000 this year for loop activation?
For the design services?
Yes.
15,000.
15. We'd probably need to add another 5 or 10 to that. It can be done. If we were to go, I believe option 2, where we said we can go talk to an architect and start scoping something out, you know, probably 10 to 15 to do that. So either option's doable. We just didn't budget for it, so we can adjust things.
So just to give more time and to look to see what potential options might be, we're looking at, okay, $25,000. Probably.
Yeah, if you want
somewhere
professional
around
services to really draw it up for you, yes.
And then at that point, we're gonna have to figure out then what that option, that whatever option they come up with is gonna cost. We're getting into a lot of money now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilman Behrman.
I think our DDA director has to go back to her board and figure out whether or not her board supports it. And if her board doesn't support it, she can let us know and we can bring this up at the next meeting and be done with it. If her board supports it and they're moving in the right direction, I'm fine giving them a little bit more time if they need more time. But what I'm not fine with was sitting back and doing nothing now anymore. So we're either moving forward with keeping it or finding out what to do with it, or we're tearing it down. Something has to move forward. That's how I feel.
Can I just add one key piece of information that would be helpful for staff tonight and for the DDA board is, does the city council have a preference of where the barn ends up? The Parks and Recreation Master Plan talks primarily about moving it to Gibson You know, when I say move, by the way, I mean disassemble and reassemble. We wouldn't try to move that thing down the street. You know, past conversations about using it in the location, it can be done. We'd have to potentially adjust like on-street parking or like how we access it. There's factors both ways. I just want to know, and I think this will matter to the DDA board. Do you have a preference one location or the other?
Keep it where it is or move it to Gibson.
Okay, I will say Gibson House, because it's a better tie-in to what the Gibson House is in the grounds right now. And probably having the only large-scale wedding there during COVID, it would have been nice to even have the bar. Even if it was a 1/10 scale and having a bar there, it would have been a nice touch to it. But I would say if a disassembly and reassembly of the native wood and the old growth wood occurred, I'd rather see it on the Gibson property than where it's standing today, and make your loop, your phase 2 loop, a lot more attractive as well. That's my.
I think they have our direction.
Okay, so time bound.
Sure. Yep. We've got direction. We'll work on getting that on the next DDA agenda.
Are you gonna make one?
Thank you.
No one's gonna entertain it. I mean, I made a motion, it should have been shut down. Someone seconded it, but everyone else spoke, and they could have discussed that. But we're literally, it's gonna be standing there for a year. No, because everyone, that's what they said.
All right, direction? Got it?
Yes, we're all set. Thank you.
Very good. So that concludes the new business items for this evening, and which brings up the second call to the public. Second call to the public. I'll read the rules again. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by a majority vote of the council present. Persons wishing to address the council shall identify themselves, their place of residence, and the reason for addressing the council. All comments made by the public shall be made directly to the council. And again, with a lot of people wanting to speak tonight, let's keep it to the 5 minutes or less. Anyone for the first call to the public? Please come up. State your name and address.
My name is Harriet Kirsch. I live at 810 Red Maple Lane in Wixom. I'm a senior resident of Wixom, and as you know, we've been without a senior coordinator for about 2 months. We have somebody new starting tomorrow. So I've had time on my hands, and I wanted to give you some quick statistics as to how Wixom compares with 3 surrounding cities, and why we Wixom seniors feel that we need our own senior center with a full-time salaried coordinator with paid benefits. Wixom's census of 2023 had 17,126 people. 21% of those were over 60. Milford has its own senior center with 17,009 people. 20% of those were 60. They have a full-time person with benefits, and they have a part-time person with no benefits. Commerce, which is the Richardson Center, has 43,179 people. 18% of those are seniors. They have 2 full-time people and 1 part-time person, but they are hooked up with Parks and Rec as one service. Farmington Hills has the Costic Center, which has 82,528 people, and 18.58% of those are seniors over 60. They have 3 part-time people, a senior division manager, and 2 full-time programmers. We're the only center out of the 4 that don't offer more than 1-day trips. We seniors have paid for years into school millages that we haven't utilized because our kids are grown and we've got grandkids. But yet we don't have anybody in Wixom to support us. When I get people in my sub to try and join the senior center, they go, well, where is it? I go, it's the building attached to the library. There's no name on it. It doesn't say community center. It doesn't say senior center. We'd like to possibly have a separate millage to get on a ballot. And if it's passed, the funds would be allocated to senior center only. I'm meeting with a lawyer tomorrow to find out how we possibly go about doing that. Seniors need to do things for camaraderie and for their own sanity. The old "no man is an island" is true. I live in a subdivision where the majority of people who own the condos are single women. And a lot of us have set up phone systems where we call each other every day to know that everybody's okay, because sometimes that just isn't the case. I grew up in Oak Park, which was a tremendous community, where the community was the people. It wasn't the buildings, it wasn't the signage, and it wasn't the beautiful landscaping. Wixom has done a great job. I'm not complaining, but we do need our own place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Bill Dreyer, president of the Maple Forest Condo Association. Harry is one of our members. We have about 115 houses, probably 200 members, almost all of them are seniors. And I guess I've had multiple people call me as president. We're hearing that there's going to be issues with the senior center, and we really need you to come and speak. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll go. But are we cutting services from the seniors? Is that what I'm hearing? Are we cutting individuals from management of that? Are we looking to downsize and not have a full-time manager with paid benefits? Am I getting some messages wrong from individuals?
We've never had full-time, it's always been a part-time.
So I guess the membership that it was addressing to me is they'd like to see even a full-time on there, and also to provide the services that we have many seniors in our community, and they make use of the services, and we'd prefer not to have any of those services cut, if not expanded on, because they do make use of them. The senior is a difficult time. They need help and support and camaraderie and time to get together, and some of these people are really lonely people, and they just need an activity. And to say one activity a week or 2 activities a month or whatever, they really need more. And we need your support to help with your community members so that we can have a very rich and growing community, particularly for the seniors.
I'm Jean Korleski, 2684 Warrior Drive in Wixom. I want to read you something I found online today, and this is why one should never trust AI. I was trying to get my dates confirmed as to when the millage was voted in to create the senior center to begin with, and then when it was actually built and opened. And this is what I found online from AI. The new Wixom Senior Center, named Connect, opened in August 2023. It is a 9,000 square foot facility designed for senior activities and community gathering. I want you gentlemen to know, gentlemen and ladies, that is the best kept secret in Wixom. From what I've been able to glean in discussing this with friends and using our memories as well as that we can, in the 1990s, Wixom residents voted to build a senior center. I believe it opened in the early 2000s. In 1990, per the census, Wixom's population was 8,550 people. In 2020, per the census, our population was 17,193. It more than doubled. But we had a part-time coordinator when this started, and in 2020, we still have a part-time coordinator, even though seniors are living longer, so exponentially, there are probably more people using it than even double. We are overdue having one. We had 2 fabulous people in the last probably 5 years, I would say. Kaylin, who was here in 2019, she left when COVID hit. She had no work. She got hired away by one of the senior communities. Then they brought in Melissa, who was phenomenal. Melissa is the person who's the center. So this is just a representative number of people. She probably tripled the center, the size of it. And she would have liked to have stayed. She wanted a full-time job with benefits. There was no hope. I understand that got turned down again this year in the budget. It doesn't seem right, as Harriet has pointed out, compare us to the other communities around us. We're falling behind, and yet we were looked at as having the best center because of Melissa. Our reputation as a city grew thanks to that young lady. She got poached as well. Walton Wood hired her away. She's running an entire department there. While we're talking about our 9,000 square foot senior center, the last 2 remodels that were done, there is a senior commission. I am the chairperson of the senior commission. We have a number of, raise your hands, people here tonight who are on the senior commission. We were never consulted. Our advice was never requested, either for the hires or when it came to remodeling, in quotes, the senior center. The outcome of that was they took out soft furniture, like fabric seats or whatever, hard plastic bucket chairs. I can assure you, 80% of our seniors are arthritic. It is miserable. They walk in carrying their cushions. It's sad. They also, in the last remodel, did a room darkening ceiling with some type of brown, whatever it's made of, bars. People sitting right under at a table cannot see their cards to play cards. If they had come to us and said, we'd like some ideas for the center, we'd have said, look, at this point, we're all getting cataract surgery. Some have macular. Brighten this room up like it's a day in the sunshine. Instead, we got the opposite. And lastly, while we were touching on signage, the door fronting Pontiac Trail, which probably should be where the sign is that says Senior Center, so people know where they're going, the door was repaired, but the seniors are told you cannot use the door. Now, I can understand that in the dead of winter when you're opening that side door and blowing cold air or whatever in. But when you have people who are using wheelchairs, or they're using walkers, they're using crutches, and you're making them go all the way around the front when they can park right next to that patio and come straight across and come in that door. If it's raining, that is what the door should be used for. There used to be, at one point in time, tables out there. So in decent weather, seniors could go out there and sit there with their coffee or their water, or play their cards or whatever. It feels like we're going backwards instead of going forwards, yet we're growing the numbers. It's not supposed to be a situation where we complain to get what we need done, but if we don't complain, nothing gets done. We feel like we don't have an advocate for the seniors. Thank you.
Anybody else for this second call to the public? Please come up. Yep.
It has nothing to do with the seniors, though. Is that okay?
Oh, that's-
Sorry? Okay.
Anything that's on your mind on the second call to the public?
Actually, I came last year, didn't realize that. My name is Mary Ann Harper. I live at 1614 Brentwood, Hidden Creek subdivision since 1995. I am here to express my concerns about steady flow of trucks, especially single, double haulers, traveling down Charles Road. This issue has been a constant complaint for years, since I've lived here, but it's grown. Previously, the trucks using Charms Road were primarily headed to Milford, as they should have been via Wixom Road to Bruno Road. While I complained about this several times, I have noticed that most of the haulers are now going to the DPW Spurt industry. Spurt opened in 1995 and has expanded over the years and has transformed into an industrial commercial company. Does this change mean that Charms Road has been rezoned for residential, commercial, or what is the road zone for? The constant flow of haulers, GF trucks, dump trucks, trucks carrying large trailers filled with debris has become overwhelming. Over the past 2 years, I have not been able to open my windows or my doors due to the loud noise from the trucks, which operate from 7 to dusk. It is very frustrating not to be able to let fresh air into my home on a pleasant spring, summer, or fall day. Is there any study being done to conduct the increasing traffic flow? I have also observed some of these trucks exceeding the speed limit of 30 miles per hour. Since the school break, I haven't seen any police presence on Charms Road except one day last week. 2 weeks ago, I did file a complaint with the police, but they only took my name and my address, so I am unsure of what action was taken. I researched online a website of the weight of the trucks allowed on Michigan roads, excluding highways. So if I sound stupid, I'm sorry, because I went out there and I'm not really sure. But I did want to add one more thing before I spoke to that. Additionally, I understand that Grand River is the detour for Pontiac Trail closure. However, how will those detours be enforced? Since the closure, I was traveling down North Wixom Road. 3 trucks were turning left on Old Wixom Road. I am not sure which way they went after they turned right onto Pontiac Trail in downtown Center. On my way home, 2 trucks turning left on Old Wixom Road, a flatbed and a double hauler. So I turned with them. Both turned right on Pontiac Trail in the downtown center. The double hauler was committed to turn right on Wixom North Road, and the flatbed moved over and turned left on Wixom North and then turned on Charms Road. Now I am seeing a steady flow of freights, the 58 boxcar freights, taking that route, traveling down Charms Road. So you cannot tell me that the haulers, flatbeds, and box trucks meet the weight requirements on the sign posted on Charms Road. The sign indicates speed limit 30. These trucks are not going 30. They are going fast. And then it talks about the legal law enforcement, a single 18, I don't know, is that tons, is that pounds? It doesn't say. And it says double tandem 26,000. So I don't know if that's pounds, tons, I'm not sure what that is. But in searching, I went out onto the Michigan state website on Michigan double haulers, and I'm not looking at highways. I was just kind of looking for residential homes. And alone, Michigan short double hauler, just the truck itself can weigh anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000 pounds. That's not including whatever they're hauling or whatever stuff they have going. So, like I said, I am seeing every truck now, of course, since the detour. And at one time, those 58-foot freight boxes or whatever trucks, I thought we had a handle on that because they were starting to go around, but now they're going down Charms Road as well. So is there any study being done, because Spurt has grown in the 28 years since I have lived here in Michigan. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. And not besides the double haulers and the haulers. The other I understand, I'm not including the dump trucks. I'm not including the landscapers that come down with their trailers. Because I understand, I guess they are meeting the requirements. But it is a constant flow. There isn't a time where those trucks are not going this way or this way. I have to say every 5 minutes, that's all I hear. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Mary. Anybody else for this second call to the public, please come to the podium.
Good evening. Judy Solinsky, 1330 Woodbridge Lane, Wixom. I'm on the committee for the seniors, and I've been trying to do things like get signage for 3 years, and I've been asking at almost every meeting what are signs, and we've been promised that there's addressing signage. And now last meeting, they said, well, we can't just put signs anywhere. So I'm still not sure that we're even gonna have a sign out by the road directing people to the senior center. But that's just one thing. Melissa was here, and she was supposed to have, I don't know, 28, 29 hours a week. She worked full-time. She donated her time, and she made this place so vibrant that people were happy to come here. She grew it considerably. And that's why we need a full-time person, is she was full-time, but she was nice enough and loved us so much. And she hated leaving. We still hear from her, and she asks how we're doing and stuff. So it's a family. And all these people that are here are all our friends and family. A lot of people are single, have been single for a long time, and have no one else. And this is our family. We play cards together, we go to lunch together, with dinner or whatever, and we visit with each other and make sure each other's healthy. If they're in the hospital, we visit them. But this is where we meet them, and this is how we have a community. Now, as far as the building, if we're supposed to have a building, we're bumped every chance that comes along. Parks and Recs gets priority. I wish we could communicate with them and have a bond with them that they feel open to talk to us without, we're in charge. We get bumped, so we have no senior center. We're invited to share our facility with Parks and Recs if they allow us to. And you know, like those brown things on the ceiling, that was supposed to be a deadener. That's not for us, but I imagine it got charged to whatever remodel was charged to the seniors. We don't need those brown things to deaden sound, because we can't hear anyway. It's a combination of, okay, you made it quieter so we can't hear, and covered the lights so we can't see. But anyway, but as far as the buildings go, when they were talking about all these other communities, Milford, who's smaller than we are and has a smaller percentage of people and seniors, they have their own building, along with their full-time people. And it's a very nice building. Richardson has their own building, and they have a very vibrant, because they have exposure. They're there all by themselves, they have signage, they have activities, and they have full classes. People don't know we're here, so we can't get full classes to get regular instructors, like for line dancing or Zumba or chair yoga. They don't want to stay with us because we can't get enough people, because we don't have any real advertising. We have no presence in the community. And Livonia, they're almost done with their brand new community center for the seniors. Farmington, the caustic center is getting old. It's 60 years old or whatever. They're drawing up plans for brand new buildings. I'm sure these are big communities, but they've had buildings right along, and now they're getting brand new buildings just exclusively for them. And we get bumped from our little place of one room, and then we get to borrow the big hall as long as nobody else is renting it. And so we're just, and I imagine every time we're in there, we get charged for the rent. So where is our money getting spent? If we have any money, it's my understanding that the county will give us money. They give us money for building improvements, and they also, I think, give us some stipends each year, depending on what our facilities are. Is there any way to get more if we had more going on? So I don't know how we find this stuff out. I mean, I've asked, what is our budget? And they didn't know that line item. So I don't know. I've talked to the to the county, and they were gonna get back to me, but we'll see. So what can you do for us to allow us to grow and be present in your place? We're voters. We would like to support you. We vote for millages. You know, and we support the schools. We vote for the fire department, or we vote for whatever, and we try to support our city, but try supporting us. We need some help, please. So.
Anybody else for the second call to the public?
Hi, my name is Joanne McCollum. They call me Joey. I've been here at this senior center since my husband died in 2001, about 2004. I've been a president of it. I've been on the board, and I've tried to change things on the board when I was on the board. That was like talking to this bench here, to no avail. So I did get off of the board and just started to enjoy. They've been trying to get rid of the seniors for a long time because some people wanted it strictly a community building for the community and all their children. Well, what about us seniors? I was very young when I came, and now I've just had back surgery and I'm just trying to get back to my friends. I miss the cards, I miss the camaraderie, I miss the lunches, I miss everything. There's only a few things we have, but I do miss them. I can't do exercises. That place should be for us. We can't seem to get through to anybody to help us get it done, because there's certain people that are very adamant that they want it for a community center since I came in 2004. Please listen to all of us and try to get us some help. I can't wait to get back to the senior center. I'm still just learning to walk with my balance is off yet, but I'm ready to go play cards. I can play bingo. I can play games. Please help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joy.
My name is Marlene Politz. I'm an orphan from Walled Lake. I have been connected with the Wixom Senior Center since 2001, after working 45 years. I would like to make a question, not a statement. My question is, where do we stand with the replacement for our senior coordinator? Thank you.
Well, after that one, the new hire is starting tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes.
City manager is. So starting tomorrow.
Part-time.
Yes, yeah.
Full-time.
And again, just for everybody's information, our budget sessions are usually held in April of the year and a public hearing in May. And yes, we wish somebody would attend those, but honestly this year, nobody attended. So it would have been nice to have heard it during budget time. So keep that in mind for next April. The budget's been adopted, already voted on, and in motion now for the 25-26. So Again, next year, there's another opportunity.
What months do you want us to show up?
Again, the formal budget sessions are in April. Anybody else for the second call to the public? Please come up. Come up to the podium, please. And, yep.
Hi, my name is Kathy Dasher, and I'm very active at the Senior Center when there are things going on for us, which isn't much. My question is, if there's all this money going out for signage, even though we missed the budget, one sign showing the Senior Center can't cost a fortune. Something could be put up so people recognize that we are there. And then maybe we can get some help, some donations for other things to do. We've had parties, and Melissa always got donations from other places for our meals, or she would pay a small amount and we would pay part of it, and then the senior commission would pay the other part. We had a party scheduled for December, a 50s party, that was canceled the day after Melissa left. We have no party scheduled. She had them scheduled with her own money for August, September, and October, and now we have nothing. I don't know how a new person can start all this over again in this little bit of time, but something needs to be done for the seniors. You're all going to be old sometime and want a place to go like the rest of us. So please, please, take us into consideration and give us a sign. Thank you.
And a full-time person.
Thank you, Kathy. Anybody else for the second call to the public?
Okay, my name is Jean Evans, and I live on Wild Rose Court. I want to know how many of you have ever been over to the Senior Center when when we are having an activity other than for Mr. Brown, Steve.
Once or twice.
So you really don't even know what we do. You've never looked, have you ever looked at a program that shows the different activities during the course of the week, Monday through Thursday? I love this, it's like they're hiding.
Yeah,
This
this
is not what
all
public
the
comment is for.
yeah,
Public comment is
for
for
the
you to
public.
address us.
Yeah.
Well, but we are totally reliant on you. You're the ones who make it possible for us to have the activities. And if we don't bring these to your attention, you know nothing about them. So please, listen to us tonight and know that we really are interested and we love the things we do. I live here because of Mr. Resnick and because of the Senior Center. He convinced me to move here. And I love it. I love being a part of the community. You've done a lot with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean. Anybody else for the second call to the public? All right. Thank you all for coming out and speaking your mind. With that, I will close the second call to the public and open it up for city manager's comments. City Manager Brown.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Had a couple things in the city manager's update that I wanted to cover for this particular meeting. The Michigan World War II Historic Trail event, I went into a lot of detail about that particular event, the dedication of the Michigan World War II Historic Trail plaque that honored Tuskegee Airman Flight Officer Cameron Dickerson. The event took place on Saturday, July 26th in front of City Hall. And I go into a lot of detail in the city manager's update. I'm not going to cover all of the detail. Just would like to say that it was a great example of a smaller scale project that just came to be, and everything kind of came together. The SOCMA events that are held, the South Oakland County Mayors Association, they have events where representatives of various cities get together and talk about items of interest. When you host an event, you can have a speaker scheduled to talk about something. Royal Oak had their SOCMA event where they discussed the World War II Legacy Memorial Project, which is located in Royal Oak. And if you've never had an opportunity to check that out, it's right on Woodward Avenue, just south of the dealership on the right-hand side of Woodward. Very impressive. Memorial has already started there, and it's only going to get more impressive. The future plans that they have for it are really going to make it absolutely first rate, something like Washington, D.C. quality. So that memorial is what started off. They were talking about that memorial at this SOCMA event. And during the course of the discussion there, I became aware of the fact that Farmington had started to become involved with the World War II historic trail. And that's where communities tell a story about their ties to World War II. And Farmington was the first city with a plaque on the historic trail. I checked it out, came back from that event very interested in it, and started to put feelers out to MVP people out in the community, including Lori Dorchek from the Wixom Historical Society. We got VFW involved, VFW Auxiliary involved, and ultimately the VFW Auxiliary paid for that bronze plaque that we placed there to honor Flight Officer Tamina Dickerson. So that was how it came about, and it was just a great event. We had participation from the Dickerson family, we had participation from the VFW Auxiliary, the state VFW, the city DPW, the city police department, the city fire department, and the members of the actual World War II Legacy Memorial Board. And it was really just a great event. I wanted to share with you how it went. We probably had about 100 attendees. And if you haven't checked it out yet, check out the boulder that we placed next to the existing memorial there that has the plaque honoring Tamina Dickerson on there. Tamina Dickerson is that Tuskegee flight officer, but he's also buried in the Wixom Cemetery, and his family started off in Wixom. He tragically died at a young age in an accident when he was 29 years old after serving with the Tuskegee Airmen. So that's just a little bit of a background on that. I just wanted to say it was really a fantastic project, and I think a fantastic outcome because of the cooperation and support of many, many different people at the city, and I wanted to make sure to bring it to your attention and let you take a look at it if you get the opportunity. The second thing is the columbarium at the Wixom Cemetery. We had one bench there back in the day. We had some feedback from council about a desire to see more seating available there. And we've put all 4 of those benches around the the columbarium. And if you hadn't had a chance to take a look at it, I encourage you to do that as well. And then I put information in there if you're interested in a burial plot or a niche for the columbarium for cremation remains. You can contact the city clerk's office, or you can hit the city website under the city clerk department to learn more about the options there. Those were the 2 things that I wanted to highlight in the city manager update. And then we have the dates to remember for the upcoming events through Parks and Recreation and a variety of other things, including council meetings and things of that nature. So those are the things I wanted to cover. If there's anything on your mind you want to ask me about, I'll do my best to answer and or get back to you. So thank you.
Mr. Brown. Assistant City Manager Benson.
I have no additional comments tonight.
All right. With that, we'll move on to council comments. I'll start on this side. Councilman Berman.
Thank you. We sat here for half an hour listening to public comment, and it's really disingenuous to see that all the public immediately left and didn't stay to listen to our public comment, or our comment, because I was going to address things that they said. I appreciate those that did stay. But frankly speaking, I think there was a lot of misinformation being spread. Some of the people were coming up here saying that they heard that they were shutting the center down. Being on council for 6 years now, we have never discussed cutting the budget to the senior center. We have never discussed shutting the senior center down. My emails on the website, no one from the senior center has ever sent me an email asking anything, requesting that we look at and budget adding a full-time person. feeling like they're getting kicked out by Parks and Rec. I mean, my door is always open. I'm sure every other council member here's door is always open. And this is the first I've ever even heard that there was an issue going on over there. And for everyone to come in and say their piece and leave and not listen to our response, that's disappointing. So I mean, I hope that gets back to them, that they should have stayed another 5 minutes after sitting through a 2-hour meeting to listen to our responses. To the individual that came regarding SPURT, I appreciate you staying. I completely agree that the number of issues we're seeing from SPURT regarding the smell and the traffic is something we need to look at from a city perspective, because a garbage truck going and emptying leaves and debris is one thing, but double hauler semi-trucks or whatever they have that are going up and down Charms and now going up and down Maple all day, every day, because Pontiac Trail is closed. And again, you're right, police are not out there doing their job, stopping these trucks. Last year they said that they tried to stop them and they're all going to SPURT. Well, I haven't seen anybody on Maple since Pontiac Trail closed. Maple is bumper to bumper traffic with people going up and down the street. So I agree with that. That's an issue, and that's an unattended or unaccounted for cost with SPURT, because we pay for Charms Road and all that traffic. We're not getting enough money from SPURT to pay for the damage they're doing to the street and to pay for the complaints we're getting regarding the smell. So that's something that is going to have to be looked at. So I appreciate you coming in, bringing that up.
Thank you.
That being said, two positive things. 2 of my children had the opportunity to go through Camp 911 again this year. They had an awesome time. I really appreciate the fire department putting on that program. They're still talking about it, and it's a great program. They put on a camp all week long for children between the ages of 9 and 11 to learn all about public safety, the fire department, CPR. You had a drone unit that came in. I mean, a really cool experience. And then I believe that was. I probably had one more thing, but it skipped my mind. So, but thank you for the fire department.
Very good. Councilman Gottschalk.
Thank you. I guess to speak a little bit to the comments that were made tonight, taking a little bit of exception to the hiding is just a misunderstanding of what that was for. So the line item, the question was asked, what is the line item for expenditures for the senior center? And I looked it up while we're here, and it is on the website. Anybody can look it up. It's a little over $97,000. That includes staff salaries, benefits, and expenses for things. I'm not sure if that's all inclusive, but that's at least what's in our budget, is a little over $97,000. That has been going up, not going down. To echo Councilmember Behrman's comments, no one in my 10 years has said to end the senior center or cut the budget. And I understand wanting to have a full-time coordinator would be nice. The senior center is already a highly subsidized program as it is in terms of the fees covering the expenses to the city. So I don't think that that's exactly feasible unless we're going to also have a discussion about the membership dues to offset that. But to my mind, this kind of seems like another issue where things didn't come to us maybe quick enough, and then we got kind of a large crowd. Even to have t-shirts made up shows that there was a lot of angst and anger and concern from people. So I hope we can have a little bit more clear line of communication, because I don't don't think that council views things the same way that the senior center members do, that there is people not looking out for you. We just, if no one's reaching out to us, we can't know what we're not told, essentially, and that's, I think, the bigger issue, so.
We didn't get these T-shirts for this.
Oh,
We've
okay.
had these for over a year now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they,
that-
for like the chair volleyball and stuff.
Okay.
And they might,
Well,
or
that-
just activities that go on over there.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it,
There was enough just
I
to get people to come out.
I think it's just a miscommunication or a lack of communication, and there's not that bridge building. Like asking for a senior coordinator now, as the deputy mayor had mentioned, our fiscal year starts at July 1st. So we're literally in month 2 of our new budget and wanting to change things. This is a discussion for the spring, and hopefully notes were taken for the future discussions, but that, I think there just needs to probably be a little bit better communication between everybody. I don't view things as we're trying to push seniors out or end the senior center or not make it comfortable for you there. I mean, chairs do matter, right? And so that's something that wasn't mentioned to us. We're not on council supposed to be the day-to-day people. We're not picking out the decor, but that should be consideration for people who are gonna be using the room. So I think maybe just a little bit more understanding communication can help things. So but I do not think we're at a point of hiring full-time staff at this stage. Thank you.
How about another part-timer to help out?
There's a line for that, and
Pardon me?
there's a budget line for that, and we've used it in the past, so we can do that, yes.
You're gonna.
Thank you, Councilman Gottschall. Is that out? Councilwoman Gremlin Fox.
So first, I'd like to thank our city clerk for sending out the information for Kathy Buck's mom, and I'd like to pass my condolences on to Kathy Buck, who is our retired city clerk. And then, I'm sorry?
They said they can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Get closer.
And then I would like to thank all the seniors for coming out. I too wish they would have stayed, so thank you for those that have.
You know, I have senior, it's driving at night. We can't really drive at night. I think they were concerned about getting home.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it's not really that they didn't want to listen to you, it's just our age, you know, the hearing, the eyesight, so you must forgive us.
Oh, you don't need to apologize. But I'm glad you're here, the ones that are here. So a couple of things that were mentioned, and I understand, I mean, I don't totally understand because I'm not in your position, but I understand wanting signs and wanting more activities, and those are all things that I'm sure we'll look into. But we do have a budget that we have to stay within. And a couple of things I wrote down, some of the communities that were being talked about, Farmington Hills has 80,000 people. So they have a much bigger budget, and they can afford different things. Livonia, I know, was talked about, they have over 100,000 people. So while this is a great city, I love living here, I love being up here on council, we're a lot smaller than that, so we just don't have the budget. Now, maybe that's something that we can work towards in the future, but we just don't have that right now. But again, some of the things that were talked about, the chairs, yes, that's something that I'm sure we can look into and try to figure out if there's something we can do about that. The front door, I did have a question about that, City Manager Brown, about the front door. What was that about?
The side door, I would call it, depending on how you look at it, the door that's facing Pontiac Trail, there's a couple of glass doors there, and I think that's the door that they were speaking of, just wanting a sign there. Just for your information, with the sign project, we already are adding lettering on the glass outside of the doors where you actually come into the senior center to reflect senior center on the left and Parks and Recreation on the right.
Oh, great.
Or community center on the right, I should say.
So 30 in the works.
Yeah, so that part is being done. And the rest of it, I'm not going to address all the different
Sure.
things, but that's one I did want to address since you brought it up.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. So we are here to listen. If you, and so is staff. I mean, if you have questions, I'm sure the staff would be happy to talk to you. we're all here, you can email us, we want to listen. Some things, honestly, we can do and work towards, and other things we might not be able to, but we are here to listen to you. So thank you for coming out.
Good. Councilman Sharp.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Wow, where to start? What a robust meeting in my mind of what's great about open meetings and elected officials and constituents speaking their mind. I want to thank all the seniors that came out, and I'm one that was kind of hiding up here because I don't really know what's going on. All I see is the report we get once a month from the senior center, whoever the leader is, and we see the number of activities and all. However, I did want to address one thing, the fact that 2 council members up here said something to the term, one used the word disingenuous, and some of the others aren't really sure what's going on in a senior's life because they have younger children or children that are children still. My parents are 88 and 91. My mom was in bed an hour ago. You know, she's not sitting out here she couldn't get here to begin with.
The ones that left are into their 90s.
Exactly, and that's my point. So for us to say disingenuous means we don't understand a segment of our constituency very well. And I want some council members constantly talk about all the great children's programs there are and all the great activities there are for children in the city of Wixom, and there are. And there are great programs, and they do mean a lot, and they're very important. But I've noticed that the membership in the senior center has increased over the last few years. And that's been my sole factor when I'm thinking about how are things going. Well, we got more people. I do look at the numbers. But it sounds like we need to do more. Councilmember Gottschall mentioned opening up lines of communication. And I think that's going to be a good start. We're probably, at least I will, I'm thinking about how we can improve that. I'm not, it's hard to commit for an entire dais, but I've got some ideas how we can try to get better information up here and see what we can do as council to help our senior citizens. Because there definitely was some sadness in the room about friendships and health and driving at night and sitting through a 2-hour meeting. To me, that was disingenuous, to make a group that we knew was going to be here sit through 2 hours to have their say. It doesn't feel right somehow to me. So enough on that. But I commit that now I've only got a few more months left on council, but I'd like to see what I can do to help with that lines of communication. Seniors are important to me. My parents are getting up there, and it's hard for them to get out and do anything, let alone come sit through a city council meeting. Regarding the item on trucks on Charms Road, I haven't been home in the last week, so I live off Charms Road. I can only imagine what is going on with that detour on Pontiac Trail. It must be a nightmare all over the city. So I'll be looking out for that, and I know Phil Langmeyer, our Chief Langmeyer, is in the back listening intently on opportunities for revenue enhancement.
So you don't misunderstand, it's not just because Pontiac Trail's closed. This has been going on way before.
I've lived there 32 years, well aware of traffic on Charles Road. So that being said, I will stop there. I'm really looking forward to Hot Blues Barbecue on Thursday night. It's one of the few I'm going to be able to make this year, but it's going to work out, and hopefully we have a nice program for everyone. Starts at 6. Seniors can get there, get home when they need to get home. Kids can have their fun, and so can mom and dad. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sharp. All right. I am probably the only senior up here, so as I approach 70, I appreciate all of the comments that were made tonight. And a couple things that I took out of it that maybe should be looked at into is, it's too bad Mr. Johnson left, because I know on the exterior building letters, it does omit senior center. It just says community center and library. And maybe Mr. Johnson can find it as good a part to stick those extra letters in there and under budget, and and get that at least marked, because I know when you turn off from Pontiac Trail into the driveway, there is no indication. And just the glass indication is not good enough, because you probably can't even read that from the parking lot. The other thing is, and perhaps Tim could at some point walk over there and take a look at what the lighting and the sound issue is. I'm hard of hearing everywhere. I get it. If I don't have my cheaters, even in light like this, I have a difficult time. So I can appreciate that too. And maybe Tim can just do a quick assessment over there and say, oh, yeah, maybe we need to change LED wavelengths or whatever, right? Regarding the, I regrettably was on vacation with the World War II dedication, and I understand that Hammond Dickerson family was there, and what a great opportunity to celebrate that. And I did, as soon as I returned from vacation, took my bike and went over there. It is really cool to see that, the rock and the plaque installed. We attended 2 ribbon cuttings over the last couple of weeks, one at Amazon. That facility was just amazing. You think that because it's all mechanized, it's not hiring people? 400 employees, right? And they're working on pretty much 23 hours around the clock there. So I talked to the hiring manager, and a lot of the folks that were from the Romulus, Dearborn area are actually moving out to Novi, Commerce, South Lyon. So it is really good for our community, and you see cars there. It's never going to make up for the 6,000 people that worked at the Ford plant, you know, back when we all moved in here. But it's amazing to see it, and unbelievable mechanization in that facility. Wixom Cleaners also had their ribbon cutting after being in business for, I don't know what, 7 or 8 years already. But it was nice to go over there and then talk to them about what they do. So again, Wixom Cleaners is a local business, so if you do any dry cleaning, please check them out. Thank you for the bike path detour signs. I don't know if that was Michigan Airline Trail in conjunction with our DPW, but it's well signed. I saw people actually using the Maple Road detour and not getting into the construction area. And maybe one comment, because I didn't get a chance to say my comments before the motions were made on the billboard signage. I do support it. I agree that maybe a little more homework on the numbers, but when I run into people around this state and the country that see my shirt that says Wixom Downtown or whatever, they say, I know where Wixom is, or you're from Wixom, aren't you? One of the things I ask them is, well, what do you like about it when you visited there? And they all mention the Michigan Airline Trail. So I think whatever billboard, every time we do even the flip of the 3 sides, make sure that we do focus on the fact that it is a trail town, right? And work to making us get put on the map as a trail town. We were not in the last survey that was done. And I've talked to Friends of the Trail to actually maybe write some letters to the judging group that did that. For some reason, Wixom didn't make it, but we are a great trail town. I've heard that from people from coast to coast in the country, as well as when you're up visiting in places in northern and western Michigan. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting closed. Thank you all for coming out.